The BakFlip MX4 is one of the best-selling tonneau covers on the market. Well, today I want to thank Realtruck for allowing me to test out and review the new and improved version on my 2020 Chevy Silverado Trail Boss. The finish on this aluminum cover is a matte black. Now, I personally am not a big fan of trifolds because I just feel like they don't look as sleek as like the back revolver that I've tested out before. However, I do like that this sits flush with the bed rails. I'm really not crazy about the tonneau covers that sit on top of the bed rails. This looks so much better in my opinion. The new construction of this cover is supposed to be 22% stronger than the previous version. So to do a little durability test, let's do a hailstorm test. Let's take some crushed ice, throw it on the cover, see if we get any dents. So it looks like we didn't get any dents. Now I know this is not a true hailstorm test, but at least you now know you can throw crushed ice on your cover. This cover has 3 sets of latches. In order to fully open it, the last section allows you to fold the cover up against the glass. In order to secure the cover, there's a prop rod on each side. They fit inside this track system, and once in place, you tighten them down and you're ready to ride down the road with the cover up. With the bed cover in this position, you're gonna lose right around 9.5 inches of bed space if you're trying to haul something that sits above the bed. Now, if you need to do that, there's 2 screws on the front. You loosen those and you can easily take the bed cover fully off to give you full bed space. You also have the option to use the front 2 straps to secure the bed cover while driving down the road. And when you take this loose and you're not using it, there's a little piece right here. You slide that under and it stays right there. When closing the cover, the latches should engage as you fold the cover down. There's a latch right there, and then there is a latch right there, and the third one at the back. The new auto latch system claims to make the cover 55% more secure. This is a very tight fit, and I can see it being difficult for someone to break in. But of course, if somebody wants in bad enough, they could potentially find a way to break into any tonneau cover. Now let's make sure you can automatically open the tailgate with your remote. And there's no problem there. Now let's test to make sure we can close the cover with the tailgate up. And it does fine. Another improvement to the back of this cover is the weather seal. It's supposed to be 13% longer to help keep the water out. So let's take it through a car wash, see how it does. I decided to take it up to a touchless car wash. The high pressure is more than your typical rainstorm, but this will give us a little bit of an idea if it's gonna leak. I didn't see any water towards the front of the cab, but it does look like there was a little that got in at the tailgate. Getting this cover installed took longer than expected, but now that I've been through it, I've got some things that I need to go through that will help speed up your process. So let's go through that now. The first thing you need to do is clean the bulkhead with some alcohol. Take the seal and apply it from one end to the other, trimming a little off the end for correct fitment. The kit will come with 6 filler strips. You can see where this part of the metal rail between the plastic bed cap protrudes out a little. You will want to install a filler strip in the middle of the bed right here. The next one will go towards the tailgate. You should be able to lift the plastic bed cap and install the strip right about 6 inches from the tailgate. The third one will go right in this area towards the front of the cab by lifting the plastic bed cap. I first installed the cover without the filler strips and the bed rails sat at an angle, so you will definitely not want to skip that step. Now you can take your rail and slide it against the front of the cab, but before clamping the rail down, install the drain tube out the front hole of the bulkhead. I like to install the first clamp towards the front of the cab and then install the next clamp towards the tailgate. Once I get those snug, I aim for a place in the middle to install the third clamp. Now that those are in place, take the stake pocket clamp and install it in the hole towards the tailgate. Take the other side of the clamp inside the bed cap and tighten it down, and the rail installation is complete. Now you can lift the cover into place slightly back from the cab in order to fold down the front section. Once you get it lined up on the bulkhead, fold the cover out all the way, which will make it a lot easier to line it up. You want the cover to come back towards the tailgate as far as it can, with the ability to drop the cover automatically. You may have to move it back and forth a little until you get it in the right placement. At this point, you can open and close the cover a couple more times to check fitment, and now you can move on to installing the buckles for the straps. Take the protective back pieces and stick them on the buckles. Then take the 2 screws and tighten them down into place. Now it's time to climb inside the bed, taking the retainer clips on each side, slide them into place under the side rails, and then tighten them down until they stop. Lastly, you will want to install the cab bumpers for protection when folding the cover up against the cab. One last fitment check, opening and closing the cover, and then you should be fully installed. Overall, I can see why this is a top seller. I know several people that have the current version of the MX4. They've had no issues and they love it. And speaking of those people, I've got a buddy's truck right here that has an older version of the MX4. It's about 5 years old, so let's go through some of the differences. The first thing I noticed with the older cover, it looks a little bit darker than the newer version. The next big thing I noticed was how much heavier these panels are on the older version to lift up and take it all the way to the back. On the new version, these are just so much lighter and a lot easier to open up all the way to the cab. Another improvement with the new cover is the clamps. These snap into place so you don't have to hold them the entire time you're trying to screw them down. The old clamps don't snap into place, so it just makes the installation of the bed rails a little bit easier on the new cover. There is one thing that I do like on the older version, and that's where you can store the strap. There's a buckle right here, you clip it in there. Now on the newer version, it has this where you kind of just slide it into place. But I think I like the buckle system a little bit better on the older version. I noticed the prop rod that holds this kind of just clips in, and the prop rod on the new version clamps down into place. The only other difference I noticed was the mounting at the front. There's this plate and then it screws into there. For the new version, you've got this bracket that slides into place and then you screw it down to tighten up the front. Among all the differences between these two covers, the biggest change is the weight. This is effortless to open up all the way, and the older version is much heavier. So if you have any questions about the durability of the MX4, you got a 5-year cover right here, and it still works and functions perfectly. And with the improvements they've made, this is gonna definitely continue to be one of the best solid options for a trifold tonneau cover. If you wanna get your hands on the new and improved MX4 cover, I'll leave a link in the description below. Now, as for me, I love the Retrax EQ electric tonneau cover I've got. I'll also leave a link to that review video if you wanna check that out. Well, thanks for watching this one, and until next time, we'll see y'all.